everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Horrible Decisions, the podcast where we are normally super disgusting, and we're going to get there, but we are going to put a little bit of a trigger warning on the top of this episode. If you click on the description of the bio, we will put the minute marks of where you can listen again, where it won't be triggering for you because we're going to be discussing sex trafficking, sex slavery, and listening to our guest story about it today.
I also think this is amazing. So for those of you who are also not aware, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So there are a lot of things in which you can do in your community or see certain advocate groups that are openly having these type of conversations within your community. At least in the description of this episode, I'll put a link. Again, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And so there's a lot of things that you can learn about it. I think on this podcast too, and even in just the journey of us talking about sex, we've gotten through discussing all of the different forms of assault. Weezy and I even just had a call yesterday, and as something as small, in quotes, if you're not watching this on video, of removing a condom was something that I shared on this podcast, and it wasn't until we were able to attach a word, the word stealthing, and having these conversations deeper, that we realized it was a form of violation and a form of assault. And so if you don't mind, I would love for you to introduce, we do have a guest with us today to share a bit of her story.
We have London, who, by the way, is also a sub and a hoe. I'm going to hope if you listen to the show. We got a DM from Jet Setting Jasmine.
Shout out to Jet Setting Jasmine.
Yeah, she was like, I have someone that would be great on your show. And honestly, London, I know you have so much dope shit going on, but this is super important for us to talk about because even after 6 years, we've never had someone that's been through something like this that's discussed it fully. So, I would love if you could just walk us through, how that started, how old you were,
Yeah, so I was very young. I was around 25, 26.
Mm-hmm.
And how I started, I was in a really low place. I was living in New York. I was a stripper. Not saying that, strippers are at a low space, but at the time, that's when the stripper strike was going on, and
we did have Giselle.
That's my homegirl
here on the pod to discuss that.
Mm-hmm. So it was we were working in the same club together. Actually, the club changed 3 times.
All of them do,
but
girl.
Man, listen. But black strippers, we were going through it. The money was very different. I was damn near homeless. I was very vulnerable, and just got out of a relationship, and I was like, you know what? Let me just stay single and try to find myself. Being somebody, I always say that I'm somebody who is a suburban girl with hood influence. I came from Long Island, but the Bronx adopted me. And
BX.
Yes,
Okay.
I love me the Bronx.
What?
No, the Bronx is the shit. They adopted me. They showed me all the love.
I do miss it sometimes.
I miss it sometimes too.
I'd be like,
it's giving gang.
I miss it. I mean, hey, it's a whole lot of gang shit. But so after my relationship, I was just like, you know what? I need to find myself as a Black woman. I don't know myself. I keep attracting these abusive relationships. Something needs to change. So I started looking up all these documentaries about Black people. I found Hidden Colors, and I was just found out about all different types of African spirituality and stuff like that. So I came back because I went to Atlanta to visit my mom, and I came back to make some money. So I'm I'm about to live in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And this girl that I was making money with, we used to travel to States because, New York was not doing it for us.
Right.
And I came back on some yo, I'm Black, I'm proud, I'm this, I'm that. And she's like, hey, I know a guy who could teach you some things. And I'm like.
She's Black too?
Yeah, she's Black. But the thing is, she disappeared for a while. Kind of like I disappeared. I disappeared for a while. She came back thick, and I'm just like, whoa, where you came from? And
came back thick as gained weight, or came back thick as got work done?
Gained weight.
Okay.
And I say that because I came back thicker because I was pregnant and I didn't have the baby. So I'm saying this because I have a feeling she was also sex trafficked, but she sex trafficked me to the man, and who was supposed to be teaching me about spirituality and teaching me about, different things that I did not know. I came from a Christian home, a Jamaican Christian home. So it's very like, very different from what I'm used to. And I knew nothing. So when he came, the sex slavery started immediately.
Can I ask, when he got into the picture, outside of teaching you about spirituality, what else did he offer? Was he offering
Housing
room and
stuff?
board? Was he helping you make more money? What else drew you to him to really stick with him for the time that you did?
It was literally me wanting to learn about spirituality.
So let me ask this, because I feel like, and I apologize if it's like, it sounds like a dumb question, but when you hear these stories, I feel like you could either think, oh my God, someone grabbed me, put me in a bag, threw me in a cave, and I started, like, you never know, right? But when we had Zola on from the movie, and she said she was sex trafficked, I watched that whole movie and didn't even think of it like that, right? Because I'm ignorant to the situation. I didn't realize Backpage could be sex trafficking. When you say you went to this man, like, how does it go? You went to his house and never left? You thought you'd move in? Like, what's that mean?
So sex trafficking could be so many different ways. It's not like the movie Taken
Yeah.
and you're like locked. It could be, but it was completely manipulation. Not to go too deep into like the details of it, but like it'll be like little things like, if you leave, like your family will be cursed. And obviously I know nothing about spirituality, and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't.
If you leave what?
If
you
leave
left
me,
him.
If
Okay.
you leave me.
Was in terms of spirituality, then it wasn't manifestation. Was he doing voodoo? Like what?
He wasn't doing a damn thing.
And it was all just kind of
because I was very vulnerable and naive
got you.
and very young, and I knew nothing. And he's somebody.
And he picked up on that.
Yeah, and somebody who, from the sense of it, this is a person that targets sex workers, strippers that are down and out. Because, going back, thinking about like him trying to get me to, have other female friends to come in for him, it was just like, I'm like, I don't have any friends that are like me, because he thought that I was somebody who didn't have shit. But I was very proud. I'm somebody who was a stripper who was making mad money didn't make any money, and I'm homeless. So I'm not going to go to my family, and ask for help or
Did
something.
you live with him immediately?
I didn't even live with him.
Wow.
I didn't even live with him.
So a lot of people talk about like grooming.
Mm-hmm.
What was his grooming like with you? Like, did he start taking you on dates first and you fell for him? Like how, what was that like?
It was strictly like, because he knew I was so adamant about learning about spirituality, it was strictly like, okay, you can't do this. It was certain things that I was not allowed to do. Like I was not allowed to have sex. I was not allowed to touch myself. It was for like a year and some change that I did not touch myself and have sex. It was just every now and then he would, do certain things. When I started like kind of like falling back, he introduced me to somebody like a babalao to actually get an actual reading.
What's that?
So a babalao is I don't know the actual like definition, but it's a spiritual, he's somebody who gives readings in the Ifa community.
Okay.
They in the Ifa community, and again, like I'm not within this community, so I can't go too deep into what it is without saying the wrong things.
Yeah.
But they tap into your ancestors and they give you readings through your ancestors.
Okay.
So real quick, you said that for the first year and a half or so, he didn't even allow you to have sex.
But you started sex slavery immediately?
For the whole 2 years, I was only having sex with him, but he gave me permission to go back to Atlanta because my mom got sick. And he gave me permission. And this is where the manipulation comes, because he was, telling me things that, I was really afraid of. I was terrified, of leaving him, but I didn't know how because I was in so deep. And I'm like, all right, what do I do? So when I left, and I also didn't realize what was happening because I already made a vow to myself that I wasn't gonna, have sex with anybody because I really just wanted to focus on myself. So I wasn't really trying to date. I wasn't trying to like be around anybody. And when he said that I'm the only person you could deal with. I'm the only person you could touch. I'm the only person that could hug you. I'm just like, okay. But in New York, we're like, we don't hug in New York like that. You know, my friends, we don't do that. So when I moved to Atlanta, I was like, something ain't right.
So can I ask you a question? So we did discuss that we were going to talk about sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Sex trafficking, by definition, is the action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another for the purpose of sexual exploitation. So in terms of you moving in with this man and having to only fuck him, is that where you perceive sex trafficking to be, or did eventually get to where he was putting you onto other people?
The sex trafficking started when the girl that I worked with put me to him.
Oh, because she
Got
passed
you.
you.
She was you know how like a lot of women, even with that white man that's, I forgot his name, that billionaire white man that's
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, that woman, women, they
She's like-
give that they make you feel comfortable.
Oh yeah, there was a sex cult. There's a documentary, Nexium.
Yeah.
I believe we talked about it on one of our Patreon episodes, but the women were definitely a part of bringing in other women for the head of this quote unquote sex cult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to know then, how would you differ? I understand like the trauma that ensued during this relationship. However, what would have been the difference then of just say Wheezy introduced me to a man, and that man ended up being manipulating, controlling. I don't know if I would necessarily say that she inserted me into sex trafficking because I was put into this damaging, controlling relationship, especially being
Is it because
that,
like you replaced her?
I just want to know the difference between a homegirl hooking you up with a bad man and then you also labeling it as sex trafficking. Because those are like, those to me are far from each other. And I just want to know where this derived as sex trafficking, or who let you know that this is what actually happened.
It's the intention,
Okay.
I feel like because she knew, even when she came back, she was like, I'm in a situation, I want to leave, but I can't. And I'm like, what is it? Like, you could talk to me, like we travel together, like, talk to me. She's like, nah, I can't. And I started sounding like her.
Oh, you gave her the way out for her to leave was because you replaced her.
I have either I replaced her or he was doing it with multiple people.
Gotcha.
Because it was just, I started sounding exactly like her. And then I wasn't.
And you were supposed to bring girls in, so she brought you in.
Yeah. And then also when she put me onto him, she disappeared off the face of the earth. Oh, you're not supposed to speak to my godchildren. My godchildren are not supposed to communicate with one another.
He called you his godchild?
Yeah, because he was initially a godfather.
Even though he was sleeping
Quote
with you?
unquote.
What?
Exactly.
Did you?
What?
This is going to
knew
sound
nothing.
weird, but I feel like I need to know because I think it could be helpful for someone that might be in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
When you were sleeping with him, did you feel happy about it? Were you feeling like you were connected to this person? And I say that because a lot of people that are in abusive relationships want to feel loved from that person. So that's why they enjoy having sex with them, or they'll do whatever they want. Did you ever feel like that?
Yeah, it came to a point because I was 2 years in, at first, I always tell people, I don't call him by his name. I call him the devil. I knew.
Girl, I call a few people the devil too, child.
But I knew
for
what
different
it felt
reasons,
like. But I knew what it felt like. I felt like I was in bed, like I looked in his eyes and I saw the devil.
Wow.
But also because it was only him, and then I did get pregnant, and because there's times when he's kind, it's like,
That's how they
you're a
keep you.
narcissist, but also it's like you're sweet, and whenever I am going through it, you're communicating with me and you're like talking to me and calming me down. But then at the same time, you're also threatening my life and my family's life if I leave you.
What was the gain that he I feel like there's something that maybe he had to promise you. Was there ever whether it be a higher level of spirituality, money, safety? What was the thing that he...
It was all of it, being somebody, I was homeless, so it's like, if you gain your spirituality, if you work with me, I am going to, make sure that I work with whoever's behind the scenes to make sure you live a good life. Especially I'm somebody
Who's behind the scenes? The angels? Like,
yeah. He said
did he portray himself like a god?
Yeah.
Like he could give you these things?
Yeah.
Was he like a
Wow.
hotep or something?
It's giving
Like,
hotep.
And you know what makes me ask this? Because it's like, I've heard men talk like this.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even say what religious group because I feel like niggas will take offense to it.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You do?
Yep.
They've come up to me in the street with a pamphlet and they'll maybe say some shit like, oh, why you got them braids? Not braids. Why you got that weave? Like, they'll say some shit to me like that. Or I'm too beautiful for XYZ. And I'll be like, nigga, fuck you. Was he like that type of dude? Like, was he giving? You know what I'm saying?
Don't give too many details, bro. Don't let us get canceled.
Because I want to know.
This is gonna
real.
actually like blow your mind. It was a white man, Italian.
Girl, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
Wait. This man wasn't black?
Was not a black.
Why
man. Was not a black man. And this is how naive I was, like
you let a white man?
I let a white man.
Oh, the devil. It makes sense now.
Wait, hold on.
I did not get. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't put you on was black, and she told you he was going to teach you about
spirituality,
but African spirituality.
Yeah,
and he's a white man.
He's a white man, and this is why I'm.
Did
really
he know anything about it?
He was very knowledgeable. I wasn't allowed to do research.
I was about to say, when the nigga maybe read some books and bent some shit.
It's not even about reading books. It's about because even when he introduced me to the Babalawo, he's friends with these type of people.
So everyone that you met was black though.
Everyone either Hispanic or.
But you know what though? The only reason I'm not really shocked at this, I meet so many white people that are like seriously tapped in with like Indian like spirituality, whether it be from yoga, it just be some like the chakra shit. Like they be like tapped the fuck in, and this ain't necessarily their shit. Nigga, I almost did ayahuasca when I was living in Mexico, and found out the shaman was fucking white, and I was like, no. Now, white people are listening, hear me out. I want to do ayahuasca either in Peru, obviously where you hear about where the plant's from and shit like that. Just a place where it's the people, they're native, like they grew up in this, their families tried it, whatever. To me, that just seems like it's authentic and real. And when I found out that the person was white, I was like, no. And they tried to convince me that he had lived amongst the Mexicans that were doing ayahuasca every day and for health and benefits and religion. I was like, nigga, no. Like, give me the authentic shit. Do I want to go to a Jamaican restaurant where they going to be like, oh, yeah, she lived there. I don't give a damn. Is she Jamaican? And the thing is, I could see how I would maybe believe that someone was tapped into that side. Like, I actually get it. And I know people might be listening to this like, that's fucking crazy, but
it's not.
Because initially it is, but like, nah, I could see that.
It makes you want to think about, how like slavery even happens. And like right now, like fast forwarding to today, like the type of person I am, like I'm a spiritual advisor. I give readings, I provide readings, and I don't teach white people anything about my roots because they use it and they flip it and they try to force us into white Jesus. And it's just like the evil that they push on African spirituality or spirituality at all, or the magic of Black people, is really the projection of the evil that comes from what these white people would do with it.
Can I also say, shout out to you for even still being a spiritual advisor, only because I feel like when I got into African American studies and when I really saw the misuse of religion, it's what's left me to kind of laugh at religion now and not convert to any specific religion, because it does bend depending on the person. It bends depending on the region you're in. It's so fluid to me to where I haven't wanted to just identify as within any sort of religion.
I think Birth of a Nation fucked me up with that when you were talking about, like, just using religion to force Black people into certain things.
But not for spirituality to have been used against you, to damn near imprison you, and for you to still want to
heal people, have
it a part of your life is I mean, interesting to me, because there's no way. Like, once I see the evil in something, I'm good on that.
But that's why I felt like, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I feel like I went through this and able for me to spread awareness of what's going on, because there are women out there being trafficked by Black men,
Girl, you
by
might
white
save
women.
somebody from this podcast.
Yeah, and that's my intention, because I want people, when I do readings, when I do my guidance, I do the readings. I don't tell you what to do. I give you tools and I coach you and guide you through it. I want women, especially Black women, to understand the power that they hold. It's so important because the only reason, you asked about the motive, and his motive is to cripple Black women.
It's crazy that you say that though too. We just had a relationship therapist on here. And so it's odd because you've also mentioned the N-word, narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I was like,
the
nigga.
idea, no, not
I
that
say
N-word.
nigga a couple
we
times.
know this is a white man, but the way that a woman, period, can identify whether she's being manipulated, sex trafficked, gaslit, and really identifying if she's literally just dealing with a diagnosed full-on fucking narcissist, because they seem to have a lot of the same qualities.
Yeah. Honestly, being submissive helped me with weaning those narcissism acts.
Was he rich?
See, I know, and it's so
In
weird.
spirit.
I know.
Bitch.
I mean,
Not even.
Did he seem
honestly.
to have like tangible things, like, right? If someone's a nurse,
Did he have at least a 3-bedroom?
a nice home, like
We always met, and I've never met him at the one time I was going to meet him at his house. The one time I was going to meet him at his house was when I decided to defy him.
You was dating a man for 2 years and had never been to his motherfucking house?
I mean, well, she's not really looking at his dating.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed.
But you were with this man and weren't having sex with anyone else but him.
I wasn't allowed to know anything about him.
So where were you having sex? Where were you meeting him?
Hotels.
And wait, and he kept you from having sex with anybody else?
Yeah, because
he threatened you with the spirit.
Initially, I didn't want to when I was living in New York, but it was when I moved, and I didn't realize what was happening until I moved to New York. I moved to Atlanta. When I moved to Atlanta, I met somebody, and I trauma bonded with him. I like grasped onto him, and everything he was doing, it was just like, is it okay that I give you a massage? Is it okay that I do this? He was so like, I told him, I was like, I'm celibate, I'm just focusing on myself, but in reality, I'm not allowed to, deal with you, because I had sex with him, and then I told this guy.
Why'd you tell him?
Why?
Because I didn't know I wasn't allowed to have sex with anybody at the time.
Until you did.
Until I did, and that's when everything changed.
Did you get punished? Like, what was the reaction?
He was like, you need to hop on a plane right now. You need to come here now. And then, so I hopped on a plane. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't
Real quick,
know.
when you hopped on a plane, you paid for your own ticket or he paid for it?
I paid for my own ticket. It was terrible. And,
Wow.
it makes you think, because it's like, even pimping, that's sex trafficking.
Yeah.
At first, when you were talking about the girl letting you in, my brain went to pimping. I'm sure a lot of people watching or listening thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
it was giving pimp.
Yeah.
Now it's giving some
It's weird.
manipulating, gaslighting.
I mean, that
bullshit.
to me, like, yeah, definitely sex slavery. I feel like
It was sex slavery, and it wasn't
Wow.
because Jasmine was my first. Like, I had a therapy session with her.
oh wow.
And I had a podcast, and I met her on, that was the last episode. It was like a full circle moment, and I was in like a space of like numbness, because being a stripper, like, we just work through our pain.
Yep.
We go to get that bag, we do whatever. At the time, I just tapped into doing burlesque. And I was just doing
Did you find
shows.
some healing from burlesque?
I found healing through everything sexy, everything seductive, anything sensual.
it lifted you up as a woman.
Let's talk about. I mean,
Yeah.
and even talking about Jasmine, like how you got out.
How I got out, I was with my old co-host, and I was literally, something didn't feel right. Like, it's like my grandmothers were just like you're not going. Because he was like, you have to come, and, I'll help you get a job. You could, stay with me and all that
New
stuff. Yeah, in New York. And I'll help you get a job, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, all right, I'll try to fly out. We'll see. And I trusted myself at that one moment. Something just was like, don't go. You're not going to come back alive. And
Wow.
so even my old co-host, she was just like, why you ain't go? I'm like, I just couldn't. You know, it just didn't feel right.
How do you break it? Do you completely block this person? Do you tell them that you're leaving?
I got a reading. You know, I had to I had to go, and that girl, she had only thing I knew was Ifa, you know? And, you know, I was like, all right, I trust her. You know, she does not seem like, you know, weird. She's not in the strip club. She's, you know, she's just her. So I got a reading, and I was just like, I just want to know, like, are godfathers supposed to be like having any type of intimacy with their godchildren? Like, I just don't know what's happening. And, you know, the guy, he gave me a reading for free because I was a mess. I started doing research. I started like reading because all types of stuff, because that's the type of person I am. I love to read. And I'm like, I just broke down, and it was October 2nd. I just celebrated my 2-year anniversary this past October.
Wow.
And I was just like, I just decided to, you know, leave and not go. And after that, I just continued working. I started booking shows, and I started dancing, and I was, you know, I'm an actress. I'm a stage actress. That's what I do. And one day I was just like, son, I'm toxic. Like, I'm very toxic. I'm just like crying all the time. Something's not right. And then this girl that I knew, she was like, yeah, I do therapy with Jasmine. I'm like, I knew she did therapy, but I didn't know she did therapy.
Izzo Pert and Raquel Savage are two sex workers that I think are great in providing just that insight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, in having conversations and talking about therapy over the last few years, searching for people that can relate, I think is very important.
It's so important.
And so Jasmine then, what things did she say that triggered you to realize what exactly was taking place?
She said it straight up. She was like, you were a sex slave.
Wow. So Jasmine told you that for the first time.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was. I'm like, one person was like, "Oh, your spirit is being sold to like the devil or some shit." I'm like going all crazy. I'm like, I just want somebody to like speak to me and not a healthy person.
What was your last conversation with him like?
Last conversation was. It's so funny. It's on my old phone because this was God, because my voicemail recorded our conversation. The voicemail. It's so weird. It's so weird. And the conversation was like, have you touched yourself? Send me a picture right now. And
send you a picture of what?
Of my body. And I was just like, I'm not sending you a picture of myself. Like, because at that time I was so down and out, I felt so drained. It's like he's an energy vampire. You know, vampires are a thing. Like, they drain you. And I was like, I feel so drained. I feel like I'm not myself. I feel lost. I don't feel like myself. I haven't showered in like 2 weeks. I'll be honest. I didn't shower for 2 weeks. That's how depressed and low I was. And he was just like, you're blaming me. You're blaming me. And I'm like, I'm not blaming you. It's how I feel. It's how I felt for the past 2 years. And then after that, like, he called me and I just never answered the phone. And a part of me, I kept my phone number for a while because a part of me was still attached to him.
Yeah.
And Jasmine helped me realize, like, that's okay to feel that way. The conversation between me and Jasmine helped me the most because she helped me recognize my baby. The real loss for me, because I've been, you know, sexually assaulted multiple times before him, and I was kind of numb to it. The real problem for me was I'm a person who can't wait to be a mom. I can't wait to be a mother. Like, I'm meant to carry someone's child in my womb. And I had to act as if I didn't carry a baby in my body for almost 5 months. And she was like, speak to her. You know, speak to her. Acknowledge her. What was she like? You know, and I had
Did you have a miscarriage?
No, I was forced to get an abortion.
By him?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, before Jasmine, had you done any other sort of therapy? And I only ask that because you just mentioned you being numb to the fact that you had been sexually assaulted prior to this man even entering your life.
Mm-hmm.
Was that something you just normalized and felt was something to expect from men?
I didn't know how to say no. My no was taken from me at 9 years old. It was taken from me at 15 years old. It was taken from me at 25 when I met him. It was normal to me. You know, I've always been like this sensual, seductive looking person. So it's always
You
been
weren't that at 9. So
I wasn't.
You can't put that blame on you
can't.
either.
But
you know?
also, I've always had like, even when I look at my niece, I'm like, you're gonna be so sensual when you get older. You could see it you could see it in like the eyes of a child. It's just like how you are, but that's because I'm a sensualist. I see it. It runs in our family. But
Man,
it runs in our family.
I would also
How old's your niece?
She's young, but it's just like
Do you think that you're maybe
projecting?
Probably not.
Because I think you can find. I have had one interaction with a kid.
Mm-hmm.
She was like 8, a friend of mine's kid. She is super intuitive and a very passionate person.
Mm-hmm.
And every time she talks to me, she touches my hands. But her mom is like that. They're Latina, right? They're very loving.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't describe her that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just say, oh, when she gets older, she's going to be just like her mom. Her mom's a sexy person, but I didn't think like that. I just feel like she's warm. Every time she sees me, she calls me Miss Gila. Hi, Miss Gila. Oh, how's New York? And she's just a very tapped in kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't take that as sensuality more than I take that as she is just in tune.
I think I see it as like, when I see sensuality, I see like like a woman and a girl's softness. When I see sensuality, I don't think sex.
But see, sensuality for you as someone who was taken advantage of turned into sex.
And it turned
which is why I say when you look at like girls and I would just hope that maybe, and Jasmine, if you're listening to this, I would hope that would be a conversation that you could have.
Yeah.
Because the idea of sensuality and you seeing that in young girls and almost saying, oh, I know how you're going to be when you get older, or I know the battles you're going to deal with. To me, it's unfortunate because, I think as just a woman with weight who grew up with weight, my hips looked different to adults than what other people looked at it. My breasts having
the girl will be fast. I didn't.
Right,
that we're used to hearing.
But to hear that a child is sensual, the idea of sexualization on a child.
Sensuality?
I think what I see it as, like, because when I say that, it's a form of like me saying like, I know, and it's a protection thing for me. When I see my niece, I see, oh my God, like you're gonna have this softness. You're going to have this sensuality that I have, that your mother has, that even my mom has, I see it and I'm just like, how am I going to be able to protect you from now? Because I see you at 5 years old. And yes, we have thick people in our family, we're thick, we're soft. And, little girls, they have such soft touches and they're always all over everybody. And it's just like, every time I see her around a man, I'm like, I just want to grab her.
I also think you are overprotected.
I was going to say,
I probably
you're mama
am.
bearing.
I am mama bearing.
Not only that,
which is a great thing to.
I am mama bearing.
But I also want to share something with you, and I haven't shared it on the podcast. But what I see of your reaction, and I'm no therapist, however, a cousin of mine, and thankfully I have a lot of kind of cousins, so I can share this. She was taken advantage by my uncle. He just did 10 years, just got out. We're not even going to talk about that. But we as a family were not aware that she was being molested until she got pregnant and found out it was a girl. So I would say it's not the sensuality that you see as much as it's the fact that she is a girl and a woman and may be subjected to the abuse that you took.
Yeah.
And so again, with what I experienced with my family and sexual assault and molestation and rape and all of those things, the conversation amongst my family was that it turned into the protection of damn near every woman in the family. It turned into my dad calling me and was like, he didn't touch you, did he? Okay. He didn't touch your sister, did he? Like, and it turned into, it didn't matter what we looked like, what hips I had, what tits I had. It turned into the fact that we were women and we knew that he touched my cousin in the family. And literally none of us, and she was maybe 21, 20. We didn't even know until she got pregnant with a girl. And the
What
reason,
are you saying with a girl?
because we all feel like had she gotten pregnant with a little boy, we don't know if we would have ever found out. The reason we found out was because she was in such fear that her daughter would have to live through the same thing she had to, in terms of being molested.
I understand.
In terms of being molested by my uncle. So that was the only time the entire family found out what she had been going through. She had kept it in. And it wasn't until someone younger was going to be present in her life that she spoke out. And so when you look at your niece, you probably look at not only someone that you love and care about, but somebody that you never want to go through what you went through. And so I think to almost say she has the sensuality that I do and her mom has and all of these things, I think what it is a deep feeling of you're a girl, you're a woman, and you may be subjected to the things that I have been subjected to by the men in my life. And so I just implore you to maybe visit that in therapy, because I don't want you to even make the excuse of sensuality or the excuse of your thighs or your hips as a woman, because I think it's also an excuse. Like, and again, I talked about my sexual assault on the train. I had men in my life at the point that I really loved and I thought cared about me. And their first question to me was, well, what was you wearing? Because that ass is fat. And so that's why I want you to maybe be more open to not looking at the sensuality of this young girl and look at the fact that she's just a girl existing in this world.
All this shit from our family too, I think.
Yeah.
I really do. And not saying our families ain't shit, but like, there was an uncle in our family. It wasn't really an uncle, it was a grandfather. And I remember, I think I might have talked about it on Patreon, at a funeral, he tried to take me to Toys R Us, and my mom.
You did. You shared
jumped
this
in front of and I was so mad at my mom. I didn't understand. Like, my mom was in the street, like damn near about to, fucking stand in front of it so he couldn't drive me to the toy store. And he did tell me, don't tell anyone I was going to get toys. And like, it's crazy, right? And then I think later down the line, it turned into a thing. We
excuse this fucking behavior by men.
Them
And our
yelling at my
families, by our
mom because I
families.
was wearing or what was it? When you're playing with the hose or whatever outside in the grass, like they're yelling at her, like, was she doing that? What was going on? How did he take her in the car? Why? And it's some old shit. I don't know why old people feel like this. I feel like we're getting older.
It's not even old people feel like that. Your mom may have known that nigga was inappropriate, even though he was your family member.
The family saying, what did she have on? Why was he doing this? What did you put your kid in? What the fuck?
But they blame the women and not blame the men who commit the crime.
They don't do that. I mean, I could always say it could stem down from slavery and all that. How black women always had to change the way we dress, to appease the white woman, to make her feel comfortable around like her husband and stuff like that. But it comes down to like that generational trauma, that womb trauma, going back to like what you said, you taken away. And I'm definitely going to listen to that because, it's a lack of better words,
Right.
And it's who's going to be the person to break that curse. Your mother probably never went through it, but your grandmother probably did, or your great grandmother did. And then now you're having to go through it because they never healed from it. They never spoke up from the family member like your cousin has. And she just broke that generational curse for her family. She's the one that spoke up that a lot of people probably never did. And now she finally spoke up. And it's like the fear of speaking up within your family, or honestly, even me being here, speaking up, because this is my first time back to New York since I decided to defy him. I almost
wanted to ask you midway, but I didn't want to say it because I knew you flew from Atlanta to do this interview.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, because you kept saying going to New York, I was like, I wonder if she like thought about him when she came to New York. Like,
oh, I did. Like, it was, man, listen, I got my index cards telling me I'm okay. Like, I go through.
Real quick, I do.
These don't have, this pink don't got nothing on there.
So these are words of you carry these often with you?
I made those for here.
You are okay.
And then I have my,
are not alone.
Well, let me just say,
stuffy.
you're a really good storyteller.
yes.
And it's really
you.
shocking to think you were You said it twice that you're nervous.
Wow.
Oh yeah, here's the thing,
By the way, I love this one. This is probably
those
favorite
are my favorite things.
Weed, purple, unicorns, mermaids, fairies, princesses, fairy tales. So just things that make you.
Those are things that make me happy.
Wow.
Shout out to my spiritual advisor, Cynthia Roy. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she
No, I
sent us
haven't.
this huge box. I just remembered because I just found it. She makes divinity and affirmation cards.
I love this.
Like specifically
Thank you.
for Black women. And that was my first time ever using that. And I had a really bad day when I was in LA, and I went through them. It was stuff like, you're the shit, right? Like, keep going, blah, blah, blah. And just to see that you carried them, I'm so conscious of what other people around me are going to perceive my anxiety as, that I try my best not to show it.
Mm-hmm.
And just recently I've talked about like depression and suicidal thoughts and things like that, and like felt no fear from it. But that came after 6 years of being on a mic. Yeah, I could talk about a fucking cream pie, but for some reason it's so scary to open up and say like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. And that vulnerability is so important. Bro, the amount of people that have wrote me, like, I can only describe it like this. And I'm hoping the best for you after this episode, because after I came out about depression and not, wanting to be alive, I had so many DMs of people telling me I helped them that I was like, bitch, I can't help myself. So I don't even want the weight of this.
Mm-hmm.
When we have a live show, and Mandy and I talked about it, I think on the episode Rory and Mall, where this girl wrote me and was like, Weezy, like, I almost did something to myself yesterday, but I wanted to come to the show. I was like, I don't know how to respond. That meant so much to me.
And then she ended up on the mic.
But like,
we
that
didn't
was
even
her
know
way of,
that. And she got on the mic, and we have our team that like vets people. She had a story, and she literally said, I wrote both of you guys yesterday. Like, I wanted to be here so bad, and I had these thoughts to end my life, but I'm here because I wanted to be here. So I didn't do it yesterday because I wanted to be here.
Bro.
And we were on stage like, well, we're so glad you made it. But like, even that weight on her dealing with depression. Last year was the hardest year mentally I've ever dealt with in my entire fucking life. And to hear that, and
it's like you relive it. And that's really what I mean by like,
Did you feel like you were
being a spiritual
reliving?
healer.
Did you feel like you were also reliving anything by just stepping back into New York?
Yeah, I had to like breathe. Like, I had to really take a second, because I was shaking even when the moment I
you
landed.
Ain't asked her to come on Zoom. Damn, I
I know.
No. I wanted to come.
Okay.
I wanted to come because I was fearful. I missed my best friend's first birth, like the birth of her first child last year.
Girl, don't put that pressure on us.
No. I wanted to come here.
decision.
I wanted to come here. I manifested this. I said to myself, I have a voice, and I knew that, there are people that watch me and they see me, they see big cat energy. And I'm like, I'm a little, I identify as a little, I identify as a kitten.
You know what is crazy what you're saying this, London? Like, I was thinking, you do watch Horrible Decisions
Yes.
all the time?
Not all the time.
But enough to where you might know the dynamic.
So
I had,
little bit.
Things to go through on this outline, and I'm like, in the middle of you talking, I'm like, I'm not about to fucking bring up a news article. This is just not it, right?
Bring it up.
We very rarely have moments where I think we have conversations so serious, and it's really important because, we pride ourselves on the sex ed part, but we be talking about dumb shit. But like, this is just one of those few. We may not have had an episode like this in years, and seriously, like, you really don't know how you might save somebody. And honestly, the thing that I'm thinking about too, to the niggas that watch this, that may not have to worry, because men have a less likely chance of being, sold into sex trafficking or slavery still happens. But there may be a woman in their life that disappeared, or a sister or a friend, and you just never fucking know. And like, I do think this is super helpful, because a lot of the times I was confusing even a relationship with a dominant man as like, what's going on? Am I in the right thing? Like, sex slavery, you always think, oh my God, there's a bunch of people coming in here and they're making money off of me. That's what I would think. But your situation is totally different. And I think I was going to say, you wrote that you're a sub. I would love to hear about that, because how the fuck could you be a sub now?
And how do you still feel
trust people?
Not only trust people, but we talk about how the subs have, maybe because the subs have technically more power than the doms.
We do.
And we've talked about that. So, and maybe also in terms of, and I would like to know, Yeah, I guess. Can you talk about in terms
Give us
of
a minute of this one.
what
Maybe this would be a good place to stop talking about it. I just want to tell
what
people.
part of a little are you? Because we just had the conversation. Shout out to Mel and T from Limitless Lux. We talked about what big letters and little letters are. Little letters can be identified as sex slaves, subs, dolls. Give me some other sub.
I'm just
titles.
making a note to myself to mark this as the place people can listen to after the triggers. So let's see. The dolls.
Could you name some more things in which subs are normally titled?
So,
I've heard you said dolls.
Dolls.
you could
Little
be
girl?
a princess. You could
Okay.
be you could be a little like me. I am a little like
Explain
I age regress from the ages 4 to 7.
Oh,
Like
so
I'm
you
a
do like
I'm a non-sexual
daddy little girl.
Yeah, I'm a non-sexual little. I don't have a caregiver.
Never heard that.
Yeah.
Non-sexual little.
Mhm.
Define that, please.
So it means that I don't allow any type of sexual anything because I age regress from the ages of 4 to 7, and those are the ages that I've never experienced trauma. So
Wow.
I put myself in a little like that's why I have my unicorn. You know,
Wait,
this
but
is my stuffy.
If it's non-sexual, how is it a part of your?
Yeah,
sexual
and what do the men get from it then as well?
So
Or
and
the partner?
you know, the caregiver, they literally give guidance. You know, they take care of you. I like to call myself a spoiled little because I like nice things. And I color, I play tea. They care for me. And if I'm somebody because I have a big spending habit. You know, initially if I have a caregiver, which I don't, you know, I'm my own daddy right now.
She said she's looking. So if you're watching,
I'm my own daddy.
Bitch.
I'm my own daddy right now.
wow.
That's how I feel.
That is the title of this episode. I'm my own daddy.
I am my own daddy, and it's very important to and this is where the healing comes from, and this is where I'm able to say like I could be a professional submissive because I'm able to take care of myself. You know, I'm able to, you know, spoil myself the way I want to be spoiled. I'm able to guide myself the way I want to be guided. But there's times where I just don't want to do shit. Like I just want to color and have a tea party, and you just say that get up, get dressed, we're gonna go get some food, and we have like a
I'm
date.
trying to think of like the things that I do that make me feel good that are childlike. Do you have any?
It's very important to think about.
Word search. I know that sounds stupid.
You knew words as a child?
Like I would always like do the little newspaper thing when I was a kid. I didn't even know what it meant.
I mean, the only thing
Circling stuff, like for real.
To me, which I'm really excited to actually do it on my own, is so the building of things makes me feel childish. So I just got back around Christmas time, I got this gingerbread house that I'm really excited to build. And then to me, I was big on playing house.
Yeah.
So Legos, dolls. So anytime I get something and I have to build it, it's not even that I feel like a man. I feel like I'm a child building something. That's the only time I can even remember building shit.
That's a little space.
Is that a little space?
Like you're putting yourself in a little space.
I do. And I feel like I'm building like Legos or a puzzle. Like those are my childish things. Or like when I was with my partner and I used to tell you we played games. I love Uno. I love creating games. No, bro. I don't play games as an adult.
It's whatever you want.
Adults play games.
But I don't.
I mean, it depends on how intense.
I only played games with him. I can't tell you if my friends come over that we sit and play games. I don't play games in parties. I don't play games at the club. I don't play games when I'm...
You could play spades. That's not fair.
Okay, spades is valid.
That's a game, huh?
Spades is valid. But spades is an adult game.
That's an adult
The children were never allowed to play spades.
I'm not allowed to play spades.
You know what I mean? Spades is an adult game. But all of those other games... or building of things or putting puzzle pieces together. Those to me are childish things. I remember those from childhood.
I think I
What
can
about you?
only think of when I was depressed, and this is a random thought that came to my mind. I was like thinking of things I watched as a kid, and I watched Degrassi again. Do you remember, anybody remember Ready or Not? All right.
Oh, I thought you were about to sing fucking Lauryn Hill.
That was the show. It's called Ready or Not.
Ready or Not.
And then this
Here
is so
I come.
embarrassing, but I swear to you.
Is that
I
Lauryn
did
Hill?
this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just check.
I watched Arthur
Arthur's a great
for
show.
hours, bro.
Wait, do you see they're bringing it?
They're ending it, and they're
ending
bringing
it.
25 years
There you
into
go.
the future.
And they just did the same thing with fucking Proud Family.
No, they're bringing it back.
They're bringing it back, but they're not.
They're
They're
ending
not.
Arthur. They're bringing back the Proud Family, but
the Kiki
with them
bees.
as adults. And then they also, oddly enough, they decided to sexualize and identify everyone in Doug.
Really?
Did you see that recently?
No.
So Skeeter, they identified was black.
Yeah, he's
Like,
one.
is that it?
He already said he was black.
Patty
Not me
Mayo,
knowing-
and they put everyone into what their categories.
I mean, that's
were.
kind of fun. Oh, I started playing
is fun.
fucking. Okay, I'm gonna have y'all guess because I love a theme song. La 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 la. This is my style. You bitches, hello. You look like
we're
you would
just
know
smiling.
what Daria is. Excuse me.
Oh, I didn't really watch Daria like
Bitch,
that.
you look like
All you
Daria
said
right
was
now.
La, 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 la.
That's all
I'm a Disney girl. I'm a Cartoon Network
Daria
girl.
was like Comedy Central. Daria was.
I don't remember what it was on.
Oh no.
my daddy was too
Daria
cheap
was
for
an
Comedy
adult
Central.
cartoon. I feel like that was on like
MTV.
Adult Swim or Adult Swim, something like
No, it
that.
was on MTV.
I grew up
Daria
in
It
a
was
Christian home.
MTV.
Daria was my shit. But like, anyway, so I started watching those things, and bro, even it's funny because the singing the songs made me feel better, and watching Arthur, just hearing every day when you walking down the street. I was
The
like,
fact that they made it a Jamaican song, they play so much.
is it? I mean, I think it was just reggae beats.
It was right. I
That
mean,
Scott Band's
all
home,
right.
no doubt, was white.
all right.
I think that was white
All
people.
right, you're right. I don't know. But all I do know is I do love, and it does kind of bring me back childhood, even though it's super adult, Big Mouth.
Bitch,
by
that's
the-
nasty.
But it's a cartoon. To me, cartoons bring... Anyways, I don't know how we got on here. Now we're talking about being
No,
children.
I mean,
But because we're
that's the
talking about
podcast.
little spaces, and it takes you back to that, like watching a show that puts you in a little space. Like I was going through it, like, you know, seasonal depression is a thing, and I say, you know what? I'm watching nothing but Disney movies and Disney TV shows. That's all I'm watching.
Zoom, zoom, and my
Listen,
heart go boom, boom, my supernova girl.
Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Isn't one of the guys in fucking Succession or some shit?
Is he?
I don't know.
Me neither.
But somebody was talking about
I ain't
seeing
make
some
Succession yet because I don't know where that shit at. But I'm sick of paying for all these goddamn
Bitch,
streaming
HBO
apps.
got it going
God
on.
motherfucking shit. I do want to ask you though.
God
only because-
motherfucking shit.
God motherfucking shit. Because it was an interesting conversation when we had Mistress Marley on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people attach BDSM and sex work to sex.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you were saying you are a little and you don't engage in sex as a little, what do the men then require from you or ask of you in whatever big letter position they are in when they meet you? Because as a little, sex may be on the table down the line, but it's not when you show up as this little. So sexually then, how are the men showing up for you, and what are they asking you for? Are they okay also with not receiving pussy, mouth, hand jobs, whatever?
what do
else
they
comes
get
with
out of
sex? What do they get out of it?
Honestly, the guys that I have met, you know, they really just love my innocence and the energy that
Does that
I
not
have.
scare you? That sounds like
It
pedophilia,
doesn't,
bro.
but it doesn't though, because it's like
I mean, it's
coming
consensual. That
from
wouldn't scare me.
because it's
Okay.
coming from a grown woman, and
Okay.
also
Valid.
it's like you're needed. You know, you're needed by some. There's a lot of men out there that have a lot of money that want to feel needed by somebody.
And, hey,
it's nothing. It's no different
I
than
feel
having a
needed.
sugar
Something
baby.
You're saying, because this is one of the
It's no-
craziest things I've heard a man tell me. I had a man that I was dating who was super rich, and I didn't really talk much about on the pod, but maybe I've referenced him but didn't give him a name. But he said something to me in a text message that made me kind of feel like shit. But I was like, wow. He's like, you're as weak as I need you to be sometimes. And I feel like you know how badly I need to be wanted and needed. And you've known how to put that on for me, and I really appreciate it. And I
But
was
weak.
like, weak is
Weak is a bad word.
Submissive.
I wrote him back.
Do you care about words? Real quick.
Weak.
Wait,
I don't
wait,
wanna-
wait, did weak
I
bother
wrote
you?
him back. So I was like, LOL, never weak. Maybe been a sub for you, hun. And he was like, no, like I get weak, you get strong for me. And he was like, but there's times where I'm helpless and you'll find something for me to help you with. And it's really empowered me.
Men love that shit. They love to feel needed.
And they do. And I bring up
That's
his
been my
money.
problem with dating now.
Mine too.
I don't know what I really need you for. We got the rose, we got the womanizer, and I got money.
Girl.
So I'm just saying but I told you again in the conversation with the therapist, that has been my problem now with dating. Men, whether they're rich or not,
What can you
want
do
to
for me?
feel needed. And as soon as they question what their purpose is in your life, that's where they don't know if this even makes sense to them. And so you're saying then kind of like Wheezy, the men just enjoy feeling needed.
That's what I've,
Okay.
gathered from it. But also, I do want to be clear. Like, I identify as a kinky kitty, and
Monkey
like
cute.
and like a
Cute.
slutty princess, you know? So I definitely like, it's just when I'm in my little space, don't bother me in my little space. You know, allow me to be in my little space, create like, you know, date nights. And this is even like, I'm a lifestyle, you know, I do this on a lifestyle. And, you know, it's very hard to find, you know, doms that you can trust to be, you know, lifestyle, even, you know, as a professional, submissive. But, you know, I love being a kinky kitty. I love being like a slutty princess. I am definitely a service submissive. I love being domesticated. You know, I like being a wife. I love checking in on people. Hi, daddy, how you doing? You know, I miss you. I love putting my little voice on, even if I'm not in little space, because my little space voice is very tiny.
Can we hear it?
Oh.
Can we hear it?
Oh, okay. But you guys have to like. I
But
can't.
do we
be
have to
for
look
too
away?
long. No. You don't have
no,
to.
you don't have to look down.
All right, hold on. Get into you're talking to a daddy. You've had a really rough day and you cannot wait to see him.
Okay.
That is the scenario.
Okay.
Dave, call her. Put your voice on. Be like,
Dave.
hey.
I'm kind of going into little space because I'm getting shy right now. So
See?
it's just
Okay, Dave, just give her a call.
Ring, ring.
No, nigga, like, hey, what's
Nigga.
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
baby, how you doing today?
Hey, baby, how you doing today?
I'm good, Daddy. I miss you. I miss you.
I miss you too.
I have Miss Manifest right here, and we're gonna have a tea party, and we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna color. Daddy, can we go play? Can we go play laser tag today?
Yeah, we can go after work.
No, I want to go now.
Want to go right now?
I want to go right now.
All right, how about we go right now?
Bro, this is me when I
Wow.
want a bag.
Oh my God.
I
She wanted to go to laser tag, bro.
because I feel like I can get things I want, and like I could like you'll say yes to me, and you could be daddy if I fucking sound like that.
And so
I
real
just
quick,
wanna-
you saying
Look
that.
at your body.
You're right. And
You
this
got-
is what you do. Even around them.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out.
Girl.
Because if I go too deep, I won't be able to make it home.
Oh, geez.
Ooh.
Why would you not be? Because then you literally go back to 4 to 7. You don't know how to get around.
Okay,
Oh.
I gotta like
Take your time.
take
girl.
myself out of it because I turned into a 4-year-old.
Oh, I'm about to bring you back.
Wow.
I will
You
turn into
flew
a
from
4.
Atlanta to New York to be on Horrible Decisions, and you just told an insane story to everyone. You talked about your sex life. Why do you want a bunch of people to hear about you? What do you do now? Who are you now? How do you, how do you?
Because
exist
you're
in
not
this
4
space?
anymore.
I'm not 4.
You're not 4.
No.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
You're 30.
It's giving a young face. So I was like, you could go either way, bitch.
But you're 30.
I just turned 30.
You've survived a lot.
Yes.
You now are in control and consent to the things that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You are no longer being taken advantage of.
No.
You're here on Horrible Decisions to share your story
Mm-hmm.
so that hopefully other people can be as strong as you.
Yes, that's the intention.
So what is your life now like at 30? Who are the people in your circle that make you feel safe? And where are you in your sexual journey and even your professional life? Do you still dance? Do you feel comfortable dancing?
Mm-hmm.
Express where this entire journey of your life has brought you now to being 30.
30. Oof. I got grown woman pussy.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I got
She's
grown
like, I be
woman
gripping now.
pussy.
I know how to work it.
I know how to work it. But you know, I'm in my sexual, like we can start with the sexual side of things. I'm being more intentional with my sex life. Tapping into sex magic a lot.
We've heard about that here on the pod.
Love me some sex magic.
What things do you real quick get into in terms of sex magic? What things are you practicing?
Man, listen, I'll fix a candle. I'll make a spiritual bath.
I love a candle.
Light some.
The
put
way I
some-
came to Jason Momoa and he went back to Lisa Bonet, apparently it wasn't working for me. Because that nigga went back after a month of separating, and I was like, my sex magic doesn't work as well.
I mean, listen, Vanane, that's
I get
that's
it.
a
She probably
witch.
she probably handling her own
You might be
magic.
fucking with a priestess. That's true.
Listen, witch pussy, I got it. So I know exactly what it do.
And that's what that is.
It'll make a motherfucker crazy if you're not
He said,
careful.
"Oop, changed my mind."
He said, actually,
That
we're gonna
witch
get right back
pussy.
into our marriage. We're gonna work on it.
Man, listen, you can manifest so much with your pussy. Like, children, you can manifest. Children are physical manifestations. But like, if you're not, one
That's
to
why
have
every
kids
time
like
I think
me,
I'm pregnant,
Oh my God, bro.
I
don't-
got out of that shit because I manifested that baby.
Or because
out,
of
bitch.
science, you
You
popped
can
to
do it.
plan B.
Nah, bro. Let me tell you something.
I mean,
I was ovulating and I was
which is the
fucking.
science.
I didn't even know, bro. It's crazy. I do believe that. I think you could. I manifested the other way or not. I looked. The reason I popped that Plan B so fucking fast was because I was like, oh my God, I was creamy. Like, what if I was ovulating? Whatever. The fucking Plan B don't work if you're actually like really ovulating. Like, yes, it may have helped me, but bitch, I was like, I do not
She
really
got
know
her
this
feet.
nigga. I don't really know this nigga. He already got 4 kids. He's got great hair.
Which means he's
But you see
also
how
a
her
baby
pussy?
maker. He a
You see
baby
how her
maker,
pussy
bitch.
out? You using your pussy magic. That's
Her pussy is out.
Listen,
Close them
I
goddamn
always
legs,
tell
bitch.
people
Pussy
breathe
out.
through your pussy, like Kegel as you breathe.
Not breathe through your pussy.
I'm dead ass.
Hold on.
Yoni breathe.
Oh my God, I feel it.
Yoni breathe. When you breathe in, like Kegel as you breathe in, and think about some shit. Think about some money. Why you think strippers be doing? What do you think we be doing?
Bro, what the fuck? I tell people where to find you because they might want a session with some pussy breathing.
You could find me at my website, londonbridges.co.
Falling down, bitch.
Building bridges.
Building bridge.
I
Come
build
on.
bridges.
Come on,
that
bitch.
I build bridges.
Why
She
we-
said
I was
she's
like, that was some
building
rapper
bridges.
shit. nigga.
I build bridges. I'm
No, I ain't
building
gonna hold
bridges
you.
to
That's
y'all.
lit, bro. Somebody gonna steal that.
Nah, it's mine.
That's hard as fuck.
London Bridges
The
builds
Building Bridges podcast.
So londonbridges.com.
LondonBridges.co. Don't put the
.co.
M. Cause I'm a CO. I'm manifesting. I'm just,
I know that's
putting
right.
good things into it.
Wait, not a CEO.
Um,
That's a corrections officer.
No,
CEO.
chief officer.
I'm a CEO.
Oh, there we
Never
go.
mind.
There we go.
It could have been
CEO.
chief executive. I was trying to help her out.
And we'll have that in the description of this episode. So londonbridges.co.
And you could find me London Level Up everywhere.
I know that's right.
On everything, even Cash App. London Level Up
Dollar sign
everywhere.
first.
And, definitely look out for, I have my afternoon teas parties where it's literally a little space for people to enjoy tea, play dress up, and, do sensual dancing so that you could release any traumas or even just bring in any type of manifestation you want. And
Because I be trying to twerk. Like, let me see if I can get these niggas. That's the manifesting I do. It don't work.
seriously, you gotta really you gotta be intentional about it. And I also, be intentional with your sex. Be
Period.
intentional with that shit. Like, if you want to have sex with a person, ask her, what's your intentions? What we gonna manifest with this? Let's make some money together.
I'm so sorry. I thought I was ignoring it.
Let's make
know
some
that's
money
right.
together. Like, how much money you want to make? Let's write it down. Let's do some breathing together,
Love
and
that.
let's have an orgasm and say, I'm gonna make $50,000, and
Off this
fuck
pussy.
that $50,000 into your life.
I know that's right.
Now, we could definitely do that.
We
Yeah,
can.
I mean, listen, why not?
So, what's your IG?
My IG is London Level Up.
London
London Level Up everywhere.
on social.
OnlyFans, London Level Up. Twitter, London Level Up. Cash App, London Level Up.
And again, we'll have that in the description of this episode. London, thank you so very much for joining us today. By the way, guys, if you want some more content of Horrible Decisions, we do drop an extra bonus episode every week over on our Patreon. So make sure you visit patreon.com/Horrible Decisions. We there. Do you have anything else going on?
I hate when she says that.
I mean, because I don't want to, because I'm going to drop mine, you drop yours. We're not going to call them church announcements or anything like brilliant. But we
Yeah,
have a
of
lot of other
course.
things going on.
We're in it. Check out WTFmediastudios.com, Studio A, Studio B. Meet all the people you hear on the mic. And it's in Soho, JMZ6 ACE train. Someone asked me that last night, like, how do I get there? And I was
And
like,
there's so many trains
there's
around here.
Google Maps, which I would implore you to use. But I will be professional here since you called the phone number and tell you. Anyway, yeah, come through. And listen to Horrible Decisions on Patreon because I'd love to take your money.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, guys, make sure you go and check out officialboxowner.com. Rebranding and new items should be announced soon. I'm super excited. We're liquidating everything that we have now. So if you have the chance, all of the Official Box Owner products are only $10. So that's right. You can get apple cider vinegar gummies and boric acid suppositories for just $10. I'm super excited to bring some his and hers libido products to the scene later on this year. But again, go on over to officialboxowner.com. Use promo code WDP for a percentage off. I don't even remember the percentage, but save on your order. And make sure you check me every Tuesday and Friday on See the Thing Is podcast as well. Anyways, we are going to leave you with a 5-minute bonus clip.
If you're on audio.
If you're on YouTube, you may or may not get this goddamn clip. If you want to hear more, go to fucking Patreon already. All right?
Y'all got some goddamn nerve in the comments talking about where's the clip. Buy it, ho.
How about you join us on the fucking Patreon? This has been yet another episode of Horrible Decisions. Bye.